welcome everybody to my review of Gears of War 5. So I'm going to go through the storyline and the history of Gears 1 through 5 so far, as well as some of the character development and then my overall pros and cons of the game. So with Gears 1 through 3, we basically see Marcus Phoenix and Delta Squad taking down the Locust and Queen Mira. And inevitably, Adam Phoenix sets off his machine, which kills off all the emotion, which is a living organism that the humans used as an energy source. And it also kills off all the locusts, or so we're led to believe. However, the locusts are basically covered in this super hard yellow crystalline structure, which the humans end up just burying them all inside of Mount Kadar and other mass graves. Now, at the beginning of Gears 4, we see Kate pick up a butterfly cocoon. And this is actually a really good analogy for how the swarm came to be. Obviously, we all know caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly, and that's what happens. We can think of the locusts as the caterpillar, their yellow structure, chrysalis structure as the cocoon or a chrysalis, and then we can think of the swarm as a butterfly that has emerged from the chrysalis. And that is pretty much where the swarm have come from. It took 25 years for them to emerge from the chrysalis, but they did that nonetheless. So we know from the first 3 Gears that the locusts need a queen in order to grow and evolve, and the same can be said for the swarm. They found their queen in Mira, who ended up being a daughter of an emulsion miner who was immune to rust lung. So she gets taken to the New Hope facility that's run by Niles and experimented on, and that facility initially was supposed to create a cure for rust lung. However, Niles starts to go crazy and starts to develop the sires, which he hoped would be an evolved form of human. Now we know obviously it's not. The A New Hope facility, which was run by Niles, gets shut down after they figure out that he's trying to combine Mira's stem cell DNA and the sire DNA, which he does in the secret underground facility under Mount Kadar. He creates the first locust and the first female locust, which is the berserker or the matriarch. Somewhere along the line, Mira ends up having a daughter with Dr. Torres, who's a scientist in that facility, and their daughter is Reyna. After Mira and Dr. Niles figure out that the matriarch has a telepathic ability to control the locusts, somehow Mira's consciousness gets put into the hive mind of the locust, and then she has a connection between the matriarch, who's basically a giant antenna, to all of the other locusts. So she starts to be able to control them and tell them where to go. Dr. Torres then takes Reyna and escapes the facility. Mira, obviously upset by this because of her strong maternal instincts, goes into a rage and decides that the locusts should tunnel underground, they kill all the scientists, and they start living out their days under there. Until the emulsion starts turning the locusts into lambent, and that's where we get the 3-way war in Gears of War 3. Once the 3-way war in Gears of War 3 happens and Adam Phoenix deploys his machine that kills off all the emulsion and all the locusts, you have 25 years of peace, which in case Reyna, who's Mira's daughter, and Gabriel Diaz end up getting married and having Kate in that portion. So Kate actually has the genetic telepathic ability to the hive mind and to the matriarch. Reyna did not have this ability. So she gets captured by the swarm, because they think that she does, and they can hook her up to the hive mind and essentially get a new queen, when in fact they can't. However, her being hooked up to the hive mind results in her body being basically emulated inside of the hive mind, which is what we see when Kate gets hooked up to the machine with the matriarch. The matriarch basically takes Kate to find her mother, quote unquote, which is actually Mira's consciousness inside of the hive mind, and Kate basically awakens it. So then Mira's consciousness is inside of Reyna's body, or Octomom as I like to refer to her, and she is awakened as the new queen. Now, because she is the new queen, they can go on to learn and develop and basically evolve the swarm into better armor, better guns, everything like that. So that's pretty much where we are with the storyline of why Mira's back, what Kate's relationship to her was. and how the swarm are going to evolve. So if I had to give a pros and cons to Gears 5, I would say definitely number one of the pros was the storyline. They definitely evolved on that quite a bit, and I like where it's going. The character development was really well done with JD and Kate. Seeing kind of how JD goes from a reckless kid to more of a defined adult and kind of more straight and narrow with the cog, even though he does separate himself from First Minister Jin's orders in order to help Kate and Del. And also, I really liked the heaviness of Gears 5. To me, whenever Jack sacrificed himself by sending out the hammer coordinates, that was super powerful because obviously Jack has been in the game since Gears 1, and he's always that little buddy that comes and helps you. And then in Gears 5 here, you can actually play with him, play the campaign with him, which would have been awesome, and I would love to do. Also, making that decision between Del and JD, obviously I'm going to pick JD because I have that emotional connection to Marcus in the first 3 Gears. And also, JD is the only thing that Marcus has left besides Cole and Baird. So I was always going to pick that. But if you just picked up Gears 5, you'd probably pick Del because Del's with you the entire game. And you obviously see JD kind of mess up at the beginning and get Lizzie Carmine killed. So during my playthrough, I thought Lizzie was the daughter of Anthony Carmine. That's not true. So there are actually 4 Carmine brothers. There's Anthony in Gears 1 who gets sniped in the face. Benjamin Carmine who gets killed by the Riftworm, which we find his helmet, which was pretty cool, a little Easter egg. Clayton Carmine, who's still alive. And then there's an unnamed Carmine brother, which is Lizzie is actually his daughter, that unnamed brother. Then you have Gary Carmine, who was a cousin apparently. And then Fredo Carmine, he ran a life insurance shop. So there are, that Carmine could also be a cousin or something like that. People are speculating that the 4th Carmine brother will be brought out in Gears 6. He's only ever been mentioned in Gears 2, and he hasn't been mentioned since. So he could still be alive. We don't know that. Some of the cons in this Gears game is the RPG factor. I do not think it was needed. I think it was super unnecessary. Now, maybe if it gave you some awesome better armor or like better weapons or something like that, really you can only upgrade Jack with it, which I guess would be, helpful, but it's not game changing. Some of the vintage weapons that they added were cool, definitely cool little things. Being able to shoot twice with the long shot was great, but I mean, I dropped it almost initially as soon as I ran out of ammo because you run out of ammo so quickly. So I don't really think the RPG was needed. Same thing with Act 3. God, that was a long act. That could have been cut in half, in my opinion, and make the game, around, 8-9 hours instead of 11. I don't think that was needed. Like going around building the satellite, going back and forth to the hangar and everything. That was just like, that was kind of a pain. I didn't like that portion. It was very grindy. So I think they could have definitely cut that down a little. The comedy overall in the game was a little bit too much for me. All the little quirks back and forth and the little like snappy remarks and stuff. It's like, yeah, you need some type of comedy to break up the heaviness of the game, but I think it didn't add anything. Definitely like a little bit here and a funny moment there would have been fine, but it was kind of just constant, mostly by Del and Kate, and then Foz. I mean, Foz was all right at the end. Like I kind of thought Foz was okay near. Overall, I'd probably give the game like a solid 8 out of 10. Maybe 7 out of 10 actually. Would have been better without the RPG element. That's just not Gears of War to me. It's always been very linear, and I've liked that portion of the game. But I do like this Gears game, and I think in Gears 6 it's going to be interesting if they make the JD Del I guess decision canon. Like if they just bring JD back and say, "Oh, everybody killed Del," or the opposite, that would kind of ruin Gears 6. They can't do that. They need to bring it in, have 2 different campaigns, one with Del and one with JD, and you need to import your save file that you want, and that's where you need to pick up from. If they don't do that, that's going to be super upsetting. you couldn't save both. There is no way to save both. So in Gears 6, which has not been confirmed yet, but it has to be. I mean, I imagine it will be. It's one of Epic's top runner games, so they definitely need to make a two-way campaign. And I actually liked one thing I did want to mention is them evolving on Marcus's and JD's relationship throughout the game. That was very well done. So overall, I think it was a pretty solid game. Some things I would have changed, but I understand what they were trying to do with it. So thank you for coming by and watching the video, and if you enjoyed this, please watch my Let's Play of Gears 5 and the other Gears games. Hey, so I wanted to jump in at the end of this review to update the score based on my new system developed by EEDAR and tailored to what I find most important in gaming. So my initial arbitrary score was 7 out of 10 for Gears of War 5. And as you can tell from the pie chart, my new score is 6.6 out of 10. Considering these two scores are so closely related, it gives me some reassurance that the new review system is effectively communicating what I find most important in a game. I already explained the pros and cons of Gears 5 from my point of view, and I think these statements line up well with the new review system. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy my other reviews.